some time, but it's flavour we can show. The menu tastes great when it's something you can grow.
The Victorian Public Health and Wellbeing Plan, one of their priority issues is healthy eating and active living. And then the East Gippsland Shire Council have their Well Placed for Wellbeing Plan, and we sit under that.
We're working with 9 schools, particularly around healthy eating and drink. They are both early learning centres and primary schools.
It's our job to ensure that we educate our kids, that they make healthy choices, that they live healthy lifestyles, and a part of that is to help them understand the processes of growing fresh food, to be able to choose those options for themselves, and that they drink water.
We also do know that if we can get the nutrition right from the early years, that the long-term gain will certainly assist in that prevention of obesity.
We have kids at the beginning of the year who came to school with unhealthy snacks that are all packet-based, that are all full of sugar.
We had lunch orders, but then the parents also made lunches, and most of the things that they made were fairly high in fat content, high in sugar content, and basically what we were doing was fueling kids with the wrong food.
1 in 4 children in Australia are overweight or obese, and in rural, remote areas, that actually goes up to 36% of children. And it's so important that these children are learning about where their food comes from, how we produce it, how we prepare it. That's a lifetime of learning.
We offer vegetables every day to the babies in the nursery room. It helps them to learn about the different textures of the vegetables and the different colours. We talk about the things that they're eating so they understand the different types of vegetables that they're having.
So Stephanie Alexander is an iconic Australian chef. You might have her books on your bookcase. She also has this foundation where she's working to improve the knowledge around food in schools. So the Stephanie Alexander Kitchen Garden Foundation provide resources to schools.
It's really important to have the kids from a young age being able to come and experience the garden to see how the fruit and vegetables they eat grow.
I'm just surprised at the willingness of children to actually try foods that previously they thought they wouldn't like.
We're really outcome focused, and to do that we've got to have the principal on board, the staff on board, the parents, the students. We've got to make sure the school board's on board and any other committees within the school.
When Kerry Lee and Andrea came and spoke to me, and I was sort of overwhelmed around how I would go about implementing it, we spoke about starting with our school council.
We usually go out first and speak to principals, and Carolee's been our expert in the achievement program. So what we've been doing is going out and giving them some basic information to start with.
We've used this achievement program framework in the state government, and it gives the school some tools to follow so that they can get a really good structure around health and wellbeing.
These guys have been growing all this produce here in the garden. We cook in the kitchen, then we have a shared lunch, and a big percentage of the time we try to access what is in this garden. We've got the silver beet, the broad beans, the broccolini just keeps on keeping on. I mean, whoever thought everyone would be eating broccolini at lunchtime?
This is the cellar of imagination.
So the healthy eating for us is a big thing, and now we're seeing that shift into bringing more like fruit, and we have a brain snack every day. We stop and they have to get a piece of fruit out and they have to have that. So we're embedding it into every aspect of our school.
We are going in and running cooking, healthy lunchbox workshops. We're helping schools set up gardens, but we don't lose sight of the bigger picture. What we really want to do is create that sustainable change.
So we've tried to do that shift across all aspects of our school so that we can spread the message, because we want to impact our whole community and try and educate our whole community about what the benefits of healthy food and making healthy food choices and how that can benefit them.
And so for us it's been about just getting our resources together. We've begun putting a shed out the back there for growing seedlings in. We've also put the right people in the right positions, and Mike, a staff member here who had several talents in that area, has been able to take his kitchen skills and gardening skills and combine them.
We have a system here at school where we supply meals to families in need. Some situation where the family's finding it a bit difficult to eat properly, so there's always a meal there for anybody that requires one.
Without the community's help, we can't do it because one person is not enough.
So when the Stephanie Alexander program was introduced, I approached the principal and asked if we could have a line brought from those tanks over to here. And since that day, this garden has just blossomed. Because we've got water, which is the all-important ingredient.
So our policy is that water is the only thing that comes to school, and that's the only thing that they have in their lunch boxes and the only thing that they have on their tables in the classroom.
So something so simple as saying we are water only, it makes such a difference in the child's hydration, the child's concentration.
What do you bring to school in your drink bottles?
Water.
And the kids have adapted to that really well, and we really didn't have much opposition about that at all, because once we explained the reason behind what we were doing and had those conversations with kids, and we did the sugary drink test with those kids, they really quickly saw, wow, how much sugar actually is in a bottle of Coke compared to none being in a bottle of water. And that activity within itself, we didn't really have to do too much convincing after that. The activity really was the evidence for kids. And then we said, now it's your choice. We've been doing it for 2 years, and it seems like it's a long process and we've got lots to do. But once we shifted our mindset, the change happened very quickly and the process happened quite quickly to get momentum going.
Extending that reach from school into the family is really important. Having children going home, being the teachers.
Kerry Lee came in and we taught the students how to cook some things to put into their lunch boxes so that they could go home and teach their parents how to cook those things to make sure they got into their lunch boxes.
Having the kids be a part of the process of making their food, getting to school and opening up their lunchbox at snack time saying like, I made this muesli bar, or I made these muffins, or I made this scroll, or look at the bread that I've made, we've made this butter.
So it was such a reversal of the roles, the children to become the educators, and we've had lots of stories from the schools about that. But now in our primary school that we're saying how the children now are giving back, they're preparing food for the teachers, the whole culture of food has changed.
And from a parent's perspective, for me, just seeing, I guess, the little spark of joy that they are learning new skills. And I mean, these are life skills. This is such a great thing for kids of this age to be able to be involved in.
And then you put the point down in first, and then lift it slowly up, and you keep just doing it over and over again. The more you do it, the quicker you get.
It's made a difference at the dinner times because, they have an appreciation of what's involved in cooking food and preparing food, and I think they've been less fussy eaters as a result of the program.
I enjoy the cooking program because I get to eat vegetarian food.
We're really pleased that we're working with about 80% of schools in our region here. That equates to about 2,000 students. And when you take in staff and families, it expands out to about 4,000 people that we're reaching with these messages and these new behaviours.
When the ladies came to me to speak about getting the achievement program at our school, I just went, oh no, you're serious? There's no way that I can actually do that. Oh, I'm sorry. We can't read and write, let alone think about having healthy lunch boxes and trying to educate kids around food.
Healthy eating is as important as maths and English.
So my initial reaction was, how am I going to fit that in? How am I actually going to make that possible? Because I agreed with everything that they were saying. I know the importance of having healthy food and making healthy food choices, but at that particular point of time, that was almost like mission impossible. And I guess for us, the thing that made the difference was that we really had lots of support from Gippsland Lakes Health and from Kerry Lee and from Andrea and from a variety of other people that they also provided to our school to actually make this program happen. It worked out fantastic, and it balanced everything up. So we were able to take a two-prong approach where we tried to improve the diet with our kids, change the drinks that they brought to school. That then had an impact on our classrooms because our classrooms became calmer. We had less highs and lows, and our kids then started to be able to concentrate on their learning, and then they became more focused, and our problems seemed to dwindle just simply by changing the diet and the culture of food within our school.
We had a child that told us they wanted a vegetable garden for Christmas. I mean, how good's that?
It's gonna take some time, but it's flavour we can show. The menu tastes great when it's something you can grow.